Welcome to Read Your Comics, and I'm back with another modern Duck book, DuckTales #1. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Daryl. I'm the host of Read Your Comics, and today I'm going to be looking at what might be the heir apparent to Carl Barks and Don Rosa. I don't know. But before I do that, I just want to give a quick shout out to all the viewer support. All your likes, shares, and comments are very much appreciated. And if you haven't done so, why not hit subscribe so you don't miss any future videos? I get a lot of repeat viewers that don't appear to be subscribed. So hit that subscribe button now. It helps do all the algorithm things for YouTube. But let's talk about this. So I've already reviewed the Uncle Scrooge book that Marvel put out, Jason Aaron wrote, and it was very much like a Marvel comic, even though Jason Aaron had said how much he was inspired by the Barks stuff that he claims to have read everything. I think it wasn't really so much Jason Aaron in that book, but the art was just very typical, more like superhero style art, and the coloring too. But this book is a little different. Dynamite put it out. I find it weird that Disney owns Marvel, but Dynamite does a lot of their comics. However, that stuff gets negotiated and worked out. I don't know, whatever. We got a DuckTales book here. And I saw it on the shelf and thought, you know what? I'm going to give this one a shot. I like this cover. One thing I'm going to complain about with Dynamite, though, and I'll just skip to the back and talk about that first, is this. Does DuckTales really deserve this many variant covers? I can't imagine that the print run is very high for this book. So if the print run is low and you have this many variant covers, what's the point? And who is this for, really? You know, DuckTales should be a book that parents are buying for their kids, or at least should be like an accessible thing for parents to buy for kids. And I think when you get into all this variant cover stuff, one, kids don't care about that. Parents aren't going to be like searching down like the, $30 variant of like this one or something. And also the cover price on it is $4.99. That's a $5 thing for what I just said is basically a kid's comic. And this is something that I think should be like at grocery stores and stuff. $2.99, even $3.99, but you're talking about $5 for a comic. And if you have kids and you let kids read comics, you know what they do to them? They destroy them. I let my son read this, and he's 10 and takes fairly good care of his comics, but look at this cardstock cover. Look at that. That was just from him reading it himself. Not a big deal for me, but I see a lot of parents just thinking like, I'm not going to buy my kids something $5 that they're just going to destroy. So failing on that end, I think the variant covers are overdone. I think the price point for this is too high. I mean, does it need a cardstock cover? If a cardstock cover takes $1 off the cover price, this should be something accessible for parents to buy kids. So with that, let me go ahead and jump into the book. So I said this might be a heir to the Barks Rosa legacies of the Duck books. And I say that because the art style in this is very much in their style and not in like that almost superhero look that the Marvel Uncle Scrooge book was. So it starts out and it's, Huey, Louie, and Dewey, and they're in the money bin counting money. Uncle Scrooge comes jumping out. Pretty solid cartooning on the duck faces here. And again, layout pretty traditional. This is very standard Barks Rosa kind of layout. I don't know if it's quite as detailed as what they did. You do have a separate writer and a separate artist working on it, where Barks was everything on the book and Rosa was everything on the book short of lettering, I believe. So, you're not getting that like mastercraft going, but you are getting the similar sensibilities on the book. So basically, they don't want to count money. They say it's boring, and Uncle Scrooge starts telling them stories. And even though Scrooge is like, what couldn't be more fun than counting money? He decides to like take them on a little walk. So they leave the money bin. And I like this layout. This feels kind of like a Barks Rose. Not so much Barks. Barks was very grid layout for the most part, at least what I've looked at it. I'm not a Barks expert, but I feel like I've looked at enough to kind of get an idea of how he laid out his pages. And Rosa kind of followed suit for the most part. Now this page I like a lot. This kind of breaks that mold where you've got this aerial view of Duckburg. And I like because you've got the money bin here, and Scrooge's mansion here. Is this a prison? And look how big it is. Is this the prison that holds the Beagle Boys over here? If so, man, talk about your privatized prison complex going on over there. But otherwise, I mean, I do like the spread of Duckburg. It kind of gives you an idea of like it's not a huge city, really. It's a moderate sized town with its landmarks being the Money Bin and McDuck's mansion on the hill on opposite sides of town. This is kind of a Barks Rosa kind of style to have a circular panel, and I like how it's pointing to where they are walking down the street. And as they go across, I didn't love like the storytelling in this. It wasn't like great, especially for a number one issue. It's kind of Scrooge doing some like quick rehashing of things. I think it would have been better served to like jump straight into an adventure to really grab you. Now, I did say my son read this and he liked it, but when I asked him if he liked it, he saw it and wanted to read it. And then when I asked him if he liked it, he was like, yeah. So there wasn't a whole lot of like excitement behind that. Yeah, I was like, yeah, it was good. So they return to the mansion. You get a launch pad here for a panel anyway, right? Kind of giving you a layout of the mansion. So, that's kind of cool. You get like a Duckburg layout, a mansion layout. In that sense, it's kind of setting you up. So Scrooge pulls out this mask, and you think like, oh, here we go. We're going to get a nice little adventure about how he got the mask. And you do, but it's only 2 pages, which in a way is kind of neat in itself. It's like a succinct little tale. And if you look at this, even the lettering styles and stuff has that Barks Rosa classic duck book look to it. And the coloring, it's probably not coming through on the screen, but they definitely try to do like the halftone coloring and stuff. So they're trying to emulate it as best they can here. And I think, at least I appreciate that. Again, if you're like a big Barks Rosa fan, tell me what you think about this and how they attempted to capture the feeling of those two duck creators. So anyway, it's a quick little tale. It's humorous. He gets the mask, it falls on his face, and the people he's stealing it from are kind of scared of him showing up with the mask because they think it's the return of whatever's supposed to be wearing that mask. And they come back. I like this panel here too with the zipping around the room kind of look to it. And then he's basically just picking up treasures and giving them like quick little snippets of something here. And again, they're trying to capture it, and they're only really doing the coloring technique like that on these flashback pages. So he tells a quick story about how he hid his treasure from some pirates by pretty much putting it in the water, and then he uses a magnet to pull it up. Again, quick little 2-pager, and it's fun. Interesting panel here of him ironing money. Capturing a lot of the qualities of Scrooge, especially from the cartoon, which is where I am mostly familiar with Scrooge, although I haven't watched it with any, detail in years and years. I'm sure my memory is very hazy on it, but DuckTales was a favorite cartoon of the time. Here's your other 2-page story. And this one, though, is a more modern tale of when he met Huey, Louie, and Dewey, and he took them to a wishing fountain, and they throw their money in, and I guess it gets sucked up in here, and it goes into these things that's their life savings. So he's starting to create a life savings for them. Coloring on this page is pretty good too. And let's see if you can see it on the camera if I hold it up. I don't know if you can see it really well, the halftone coloring technique. And part of the story that Scrooge is telling in this is that he built Duckburg, more or less, and all the things that go along with it. I mean, here you are getting a little bit of contrasting style page layouts compared to this. This is very much in the classic layout, these little flashbacks. And this kind of with that, but we're starting to get these askew panels and stuff. So I think it's maybe attempting to do a transition of old stories versus the new direction. So, I mean, we'll find out more in the second issue if I pick that up. I may or may not. I didn't subscribe to it. I just happened to see this one on the shelf when I was at the shop, and I was like, one left, I'll grab it. So it ends with a big map of Duckburg here, and it seems like they're setting up like a story arc, or at least one issue where he's gonna more or less give the origin of Duckburg, and the adventure is going to be in Duckburg, and this is setting up the pan, or what's going to happen in future issues. Like, here's the adventure that's going to take place in Duckburg. Here's the characters we're going to see, all our favorites, and even the villains. And it looks like we're going to start out with Magician Dispel to start out the next book, because there's the cover to number 2. So that's it for the DuckTales number 1 by Dynamite in a modern era. We got some other Disney ads. Hercules title, and then the cover gallery that I already discussed. So if you're, like I said, if you're a classic Duck book fan, let me know what you think of this. If you're new to the Duck stuff, I mean, I would still say go get you a book from Fantagraphics that collects a bunch of stories. But if you see this at the shop and you like Scrooge, I guess it's worth picking up at least the first maybe couple issues. Again, that cover price, I don't love it. I don't love it. I think $5 for a monthly book is pushing it, when that $5 can go towards a Netflix subscription, or a Spotify subscription, or something that gives you a lot more content in a month's time than the a 5-minute comic read that has just kind of decent art that is reminiscent of classic guys. You know what I'm saying? But otherwise, I think it's an okay book. I don't usually do grades. I'd give it a B- maybe, for trying to capture that classic feel. That's all I got. Until next time, read your comics. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed my breakdown of this issue, you can support the channel by hitting subscribe. It costs you nothing and helps other comic fans find the channel. You can also visit readyourcomics.com for cool merch, like this. Read Your Comics isn't just a brand, it's a mantra. And when you wear a Read Your Comics shirt, you are helping spread the word. For more classic comics conversation, be sure to follow me on Instagram at read.your.comics. And if you're still here, why not watch one of my older videos? Here or here.